Hi, Teddy.
Hi, I have my son. I'm getting in the car to go pick up my daughters from a play date.
Oh,
So I just thought I would like join to be a part of it, but
yes.
you
Okay,
might
so
hear some chaos in the background.
no, totally, totally fine. It's just you right now. So and this, I don't really have anything planned for this call. I really just wanted it to go over like where you are, how it's going, any questions you have around Booked Out Blueprint. I know everybody was kind of in different spots and like where they were in the program. Some of us stepped into it and then really took time to implement. Others stepped in and then stepped back out. Others have a plan to like get in there and go. So really, Teddy, if there's any questions that you have around Booked Out Blueprint, or if now is not a great time, we can definitely talk about those things inside of our other spaces. That's totally fine. But I don't have anything like planned to share. I am happy to like dive in wherever you are in the program and look at like what's going well or where you're stuck. But again, like I said, if the time is not right now, I don't want you to have to feel like you're like, juggling all the
No,
things.
I appreciate that. Once I get him in his car seat, I should be fine.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
but I would say like I was following along pretty on track for the first like 6 to 8 weeks, and then I like took a pause and got kind of behind.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, think that also sort of aligned like just really nicely with where I was in my business anyway and the systems that I was setting up.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, you got it. Uh-huh. He's climbing over the snow. Get into
All
his
good.
seat. Come on, bud. Okay, just give me 1 second. I will get him in and then I am good to talk. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, girl.
Okay, awesome.
Yes.
So, what I was saying is, I felt I really love the layout of it and
Hmm.
how it takes you through each step and like how it's nice to do step one before step two. I think so far for me, some of the like some of the stuff that's been most useful has
Yeah.
been like the lead tracker work as well as like the revenue generating
Uh-huh.
activities, mostly because I've done other of your content work before. So
Hmm.
while that was super helpful to have in here, um,
Hmm.
I had like a little bit of an understanding of that. Although I will say having like the swipe files and like a visual representation of some of the stuff has been really helpful too.
Good.
Um, yeah. And so I think, I mean, I'm fortunate because I'm in multiple of your spaces. And so I get you all the time. But,
No,
and so I
that's
sort of questions as I go, but I think like what I've been working on, I mean, you and I just talked a bunch about content, but the idea of like setting my week up um, with like goals for the week is
Mm-hmm.
not something I had really been doing. So I feel like that's sort of the phase I'm in right now.
Totally. Okay. And all that feedback is super helpful for me too. And it's funny because that content part, I know exactly the part of the program of Booked Out Blueprint that you're talking about in that content section. Just out
Mm-hmm.
of curiosity, did you get past the content section? Or is that kind of where you stopped?
I got, no, I did get past it.
You did, and you kept
I got,
you went farther. Okay.
yeah. Hmm.
Because that was a thing I was like, I don't want this. I don't want like, because you know me, I'm very much about your content, yes, is important, and your content does play a role in your business and like being present and being visible, but it's not everything. And so by putting that in there, I didn't want to give anybody like the impression that like, oh, you just go post content and then you do this thing. So I'm glad the feedback is definitely really helpful. This idea of setting my week up around like what did you say, goals for the week, that
Yeah.
is so important. And I it's what happens is when we set, okay, wait, let me ask you this, how were you doing it before?
Um, just flying by the seat of my pants.
Mhm.
Honestly, I like I will go for things, but like that's my strong point. Like I just skip over that. Even tracker work I hadn't been doing until I
Uh-huh.
started doing it with Booked Out Blueprint. And so basically I had just had like I was better about knowing my social media goals than I was about other goals. And
Okay.
or I would have a goal of like reaching out to two or three people a week or like whatever that particular goal was. But beyond those two things, I wasn't setting weekly goals.
Okay, okay, that makes sense. And that's typically what I see happen. And I've lived this out as well, is that you have like an intention of, okay, I'm going to make this many posts and I'm going to do this many stories or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And then we kind of forget it's the eggs in the basket, right? Like putting all of your eggs in that social media basket and then kind of
Mm-hmm.
forgetting, oh, wait a second, like these are all good things. They're not bad. Like they're all marketing things, but like where is the sales part of it? And the
Right.
sales part of it is what's going to get us booked out. So going back to how do I set up my week in a way that where there's a balance of both. The conversation that we had on the membership call last week around the big five and like how am I doing something around my ideal client, how am I doing something around my partners, how am I building my ecosystem, what am I doing for marketing, what does that look like, and also what do I need to research in order to make those things happen. That's a big
Mm-hmm.
shift. You did it in Slack. I saw your clipboard, right?
Yes. Yes.
Of like, this is what I'm doing. So how does that feel to have that like mapped out for the week?
What I think is going to be a really big difference about that is that not only does it make the goals more tangible and easier to be like, okay, these are the exact things that I need to do. So then when you sit down, you already know what you're going to do instead of like sitting down and then figuring it out.
Right, right.
Um, but also, I have not been great about tracking what is and isn't working on like a more
Mm,
detailed level. And so
uh-huh.
I think that will then be the next step, sort of, is like paying attention to that kind of stuff, which will hopefully be easier when I am actually tracking like my goals and what I'm doing each week.
Absolutely. And the tracking part can get really, really overwhelming really quick too. Like
Yeah.
I would definitely say that. And especially if you are not, some people are numbers people and they like enjoy it and they can see it in different ways and like it makes sense to them. I'm not that person either. I very
Yeah.
much am like, man, no thanks. I feel like it's working, so it must be working. Like we're good. Um,
Yeah.
so I would say I would definitely suggest when you are ready to start tracking, like let's really look at the simplest, easiest way to do that and only start with one thing versus starting with like a bunch of different things. Because inside the program, I don't know how far you got into it, but there's a whole thing on tracking and what's important and what to pay attention to. I wouldn't say pick, like, do all of the things. Just pick
Yeah.
one thing, just like we do with everything. Pick one thing. And then once you feel like you have that under your belt, um, then add something else. Because it's going to, and also as you go through it, understanding like what would be helpful to know. Like if I knew something about last week and I knew that that was
Mm.
producing conversations, or I knew that like people really wanted to hear about that, or I knew that that particular action or that thing that I did something, like it moved something, then I want to focus on that and do more of that versus not paying attention. You see what I'm saying?
Yes. Yeah, no, definitely. And I think I mean, I think like the past few weeks have just been like a totally different perspective for me in terms of like, I've tried hard to still do social media, but to step away from that as like expecting that, as not putting all my eggs in that basket.
Right,
Um,
right.
and that is where I think some of this stuff again is more helpful because it's like figuring out who I'm reaching out to and where I'm reaching out to and where they are.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah,
and it's also all new. So keeping track of like what is helping and what isn't is good
yeah,
information, especially because I don't necessarily, right? I'm a mom of three. I don't necessarily have time to just put energy into everything. So I need to
right.
figure out what places are
Yeah.
like bang for my buck.
Yes, absolutely. And so here's a question that can kind of guide that too. And I understand, I totally get it. What would you be proud of, like at the end of the week? If we're looking at a weekly, like this is my plan, this is what I'm doing, what would you be proud of at the end of the week to say, yes, I did that? And not necessarily around like, oh, I signed 5 clients or, oh,
Mhm.
someone reached out, but more so of what you can control. And so if you're okay with it, I have your picture pulled up of your clipboard, your revenue
Oh,
generation
yeah.
for the week of 216. If you're okay, I'll share what you have here and then we can kind
Okay.
of look at it and go, okay, is there anything here that we would track or be helpful to know? Just so if
Yeah.
anybody's listening to the replay, they kind of have an idea of what we're talking about here. So the
Yeah,
first
sure.
is invite people onto 4 conversations. So I love this one so much because you're not inviting 4 people into an offer. You're not
Hmm.
pitching to 4 people. You're simply just inviting them onto a conversation to be able to ask them the questions around, would this be a good fit? Do I have something that can help them? Like, what does that look like? It takes
Hmm.
a lot of the pressure off. And those conversations, I do want to remind you too, they don't necessarily have to happen on a sales call or on a call. You can do that in different ways. Like it could be a deep
Right.
conversation, it could be through an email. Like it's just inviting them into a conversation and saying, hey, like, what are the questions that I have at hand that are going to help me identify whether or not this person is a good fit for my work? So,
Right.
2 things that I think of when it comes to that, like 2 things that I can see getting like people stumped around invite, because it sounds simple, right? Invite 4 people to conversations. Number
Right.
one is where am I finding the people to invite?
Hmm. Hmm.
And then number two, the other like stumped thing is like, well, what do I say? What am I going to ask them? Do
Yeah.
either of those like resonate, or do you feel like, oh yeah, that would be helpful to know?
Yeah, I absolutely feel like so this week, yeah, I'll get into it. I feel like the first one is the hardest for me. It's figuring out where these people are coming from
Mhm.
because once I sort of get into a conversation with someone, I
Mhm.
can lead it into asking, like,
Mhm.
even if it's like through um like Instagram or Facebook or whatever, like I can lead it into at least behind the scenes that way. It's easier for me to have the conversation in person. It's probably a little different.
Yeah.
But like knowing who, like where to find the people to invite is like, I feel like that is a really big roller coaster for me right now. Like, I either have no one or I did some fluke thing that brought me like 10 people
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I get through those people and then I hit like a dry land again, you know?
Yeah.
So this week, because of this like networking thing that I'm trying to do in my county, I am like overloaded with people. So 4 felt really doable.
Amazing.
Um, but that is not a weekly thing for me.
Right. Okay. So and your revenue generating activities will look different every week, and that's okay. So this week the focus is around this networking thing, which is
Mm-hmm.
great. So then the question becomes the roller coaster is where do I find the people? So part of finding where the people are is testing the different places that people might be. And that doesn't always
Mm-hmm.
produce anything, but at least then you have data to go, well, that didn't produce, so I'm not going to spend my time there anymore. Because at some
Right.
point, you're going to land somewhere where you're like, oh my gosh, like this is where it's at. Like this is the gold mine. Here, I found it. But there's no way to know that until you start testing. So testing is part of a revenue generating activity. So you can
Mm-hmm.
keep that in mind. That could be another like thing that we add to the clipboard. Maybe not this week, but maybe it's next week.
Right.
Where are
Right.
like what's a reasonable like number of places I could look, whether it's a Facebook group, whether it's a mom group, whether and just one or two. We don't need to be like going crazy and saying I need to reach out to 20 different places this week. Like it's just one at a time. That counts. So
Mm-hmm.
that could be added as a revenue generating activity. So what it might look like on the clipboard, not for this,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe for next week, it could look like I'm going to research 2 Facebook groups and I'm going to just kind of do some market research inside of those groups and see what people are asking. I may post value inside to see if I get any response or any reaction. I'm going to pay
Mm-hmm.
attention in those groups. I'm going to scroll back a little ways and pay attention to what is getting a lot of like engagement and stuff going on. So that could be something as well. You're testing it. So testing counts
Right.
as a revenue generating activity because it's frustrating when you're like, I don't know where the people are. Where are the people? Like that's frustrating. And that's going to cause you to go, yeah, I'm just going to go create another Instagram post. I'm just going to go create some
Right.
because that's easier to do. So
Right.
testing new places. All right. And the testing new places too, Teddy, I know we've talked about this,
Mm-hmm.
could be the LinkedIn thing, spending 30 minutes
Right.
figuring that out. Like that's part of that thing of like, I'm currently working to find where my people are. And I will not stop until I find them because they're all out there and they're all in a spot. Like, so I'm just going to go find them. Like, that's the mindset,
Right.
right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
then another thing you said, I did a fluke thing and it just got me 10 people. And oh my gosh, there's data in that. What's the fluke thing that you're doing? And what is it telling you about what people want? That's
So the
data.
fluke, yeah, I mean, the fluke thing I did is that, well, first of all, I followed your advice and reached out to someone who had who had liked one of my posts, and that actually is really hard for me to figure out how to say like thanks for interacting with my stuff without seeming like a creep who's following them watching my stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
this particular person, it worked out. She's in my neighborhood. And I know she also has a business. And so I just said, like, how's your business going? And then she threw out this idea of like, we should have like a networking event
Uh-huh.
for our county. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to post it to this Howard County moms Facebook group, right? And just see. And so I think what was different about that was it wasn't me advertising myself. It was me saying, like, who else is in the area that's similar? And do we want to get together? And so it's probably going to be a longer road of connecting with people than just saying, like, I have this program if you're interested in it, right? But I have over 60 emails right now from people within the past like 4 days who have commented on it.
Okay, that gives you that. Okay, what that tells you, and like you said, the difference is I'm not advertising myself. Instead, like who's similar. What does that tell you? That tells us that people want connection. People
Yeah.
want to be in space with people that are like them. So how is that connected to the work that you do? Like what is it that you do that can create that? And I know like with the I can't remember what you called it, the coffee at your house and the
Oh yeah,
coffee
yeah.
meals or whatever,
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
took off right away and then it kind of petered out. What
Yeah.
if that is like, how do we bring that back in a way where we're again creating connection and creating opportunity? Because you don't know, just like you said, like you never know where things are going to lead. Like you just don't
Right.
know. Like you probably didn't think that this was going to come from saying thank you for like engaging and checking out my stuff and you reached out to this person, right? It just
Right.
snowballs. And so we're continuously putting ourselves in those situations where we're like, I don't know what's going to come of this, but something is going to come of this, whether it's what I expected, whether it's something unexpected, whether it's something I want or something I don't really care for. But the
Hmm.
only way is to test it out. And you got 60 emails, great. Like you already have it on here. Like reach out to those four, reach out to four people that feel like they could be aligned.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's amazing. And then as far as how do I engage in conversations with someone who is following my stuff? So are these people that are
Hmm.
watching your stories or people that are liking your stuff? Who like what are they, how are you gauging that?
I would say more people who are like just watching my stuff. Like I can tell that they've seen my stories, but aren't necessarily interacting with them, but are like repeat watchers.
Repeat.
Um,
I love it.
because I feel like if they actually like it, then I can say like, thank you for interacting with my stuff,
Mhm.
and start it that way. But if they're just present, that's a little
Yeah.
harder for me. Yeah.
It's definitely harder. And it is, I mean, the only way though to know is to just shoot your shot. So it's,
Hmm.
and sometimes too, I have the same type of people in my, stories. And lots of times I've sent messages that'll say something like, or sometimes I can't even send a message because their thing is private. So then it's like, well, I can't even do anything about that. But when it's an
Right.
opportunity, it'll sound something like, hey, so and so, thank you so much for, I've noticed that you've, been supporting me by watching my stories. So it's like thanks for helping me out.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to hear what resonates with you, or would love, even just that is fine, or would love to hear, do you have a business right now, or are you a mom too, or are you just something that is going to get that initial like connection and conversation, typically not something that is going like, I know you said I don't want it to sound like spammy or salesy, so it would be something that's more along the lines of like, how old are your kids? um, how are
Right.
you, like what do you do, what's your job, like what do you do, where do you live, which is something that's pretty surface level and easy just to get that initial like convo going. But again, those people that are in your audience that are watching your stories that you don't know, that are consistently watching, they're
Hmm.
still considered cold because you don't know anything about them. Like, in
Right.
order to be warm, you got to know something about them. Because, like some random creepy guy down the street could be watching all my stories. He's not warm because, and he'll never be warm
Right.
because he's not my person, right? So
Right.
they're still considered cold. And when we're thinking about our cold people, those are the
Hmm.
hardest ones. Not the hardest, hard is the wrong word, but they're going to take the longest amount of time to figure out where they land and to figure out how to, not how to move the conversation, but to just simply move the conversation. So
Right.
that's why we try to start with the hot and the warm people that are already in your spaces. And I know we've talked about this too around like, well, how many times do I keep messaging until like it's kind of like, okay, not messaging
Right.
anymore. But I promise you, if you sit down and you look at anybody that was previously in a space, anybody that you can ask
Uh-huh.
for a referral from, anyone that maybe said, no, no, not right now, that you can revisit, like as that kind of time cycle goes on, those are all easier places to start than the wider cold audience, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. That does make sense.
Good, good. Okay, so what else? I'm typing notes in Slack too, so I'll send these to you
Oh,
when
great.
we're done with our talk. Okay, so to reply to four stories or posts. Tell me a little bit about that.
So I am not great at like interacting with other people's content.
Okay.
Um, But I feel like that could be just a way to, especially some of the people that are a little bit more cold or warm,
Yeah.
a better way, like a good way to just like put my face out there and start to interact with them, that also feels supportive to them.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's low risk too. That's you just
Right.
for me, like you just set a timer for 15 minutes and go, okay, who would I love to work with? Okay, perfect. Let me just go search her up on, Instagram or Facebook or whatever. Let me see what she's got in her stories. Let me see what her recent posts are. Let me add some value to that. Let me support her in this way. Okay, done. Perfect. So
Yeah.
that's good. That's a good one. And you're right. It may not do anything right away. Like it's not like she's gonna reach out and be like, "Oh my God, can I work with you?" Because you commented on my post or whatever. But it's keeping you top of mind. It's sharing that you care. It's creating that genuine
Right.
connection and relationship, which all matters, right? It matters.
Right. Yeah.
And then you have on here pick one networking event. So is that one to attend?
Yeah. Pick one to attend.
Awesome. Okay. And then offer one piece of value. Love it. Is that through
Mhm.
content?
I think my goal for the week, for this particular week, is I had created this like planner journal thing a long time ago that has like questions and intentions for your week and that kind of thing. And I had used it as sort of like a um, sign up for my emails and you get this for free journal. But I haven't put it out in a few months. And I think I have a lot of different clients since then, or like a
Oh,
lot of different eyes. So my plan is to put that on social media and through an email this week.
love it. And then what you can do too, Teddy. So it's an opt-in, right? To grow your
Yeah, yeah,
list.
yeah. Yeah,
I
that's the word
mean,
I was looking for.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's great. And you're right. You are continuously getting new people, and those new people might not know about it. So
Hmm.
what I would suggest doing when you do that, when you go to share about it on social media or on stories,
Hmm.
is to save those posts and reuse them. Like
Hmm.
right? You don't have to next month or next week or every other week. You don't have to recreate the wheel and like share here, this whole new thing. Like the thing is the thing and it's going to stay the thing and it's going to serve the same
Yeah.
purpose. So really just pointing out what they're going to get out of it and then save that and reuse it. And same with your email list. Like anytime you're getting ready, do you email your list periodically or
I
consistent?
I would say I am not consistent in the sense of like I don't have like a monthly something, but just periodically. Yeah.
That's good. So anytime you go to send out an email, there it might be like just a simple like one or two story slide. So let's say I'm going to send the email out tomorrow. Today I might post one or two stories around, oh my gosh, I'm getting this email ready to go or this opt-in ready. You can word it however you want. Um, and you're going to get this and this out of it. Do you want to make sure you're on the list? And then that's another opportunity. And then anybody that signs up,
Yeah.
that's a spot for you to individually and personally reach out. So
Okay.
they'll probably go into some sort of sequence after they download the thing or whatever, but it's an
Hmm.
opportunity for you to go, I'm so excited. Like, thank you so much for being here. Would love to hear more about you. And then start that
Hmm.
conversation.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
these are great. These are really, really good.
Yeah, no, that's great. And actually, that makes me think I should like, I haven't looked at that sequence in a while. I should check it out before I do that this week. And even
Oh,
if that pushes it to next week,
yeah.
um, at least then people have like a good flow, especially because I just switched my
Yeah.
email service.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. Okay. So I'll add
and
that.
so, yeah,
Check the
I should do
sequence
that. Yeah.
go into. Yeah. And that's
Hmm.
something I hate doing stuff like that because I'm like, oh, this is such a waste of time. But then I'm like, no, it needs to be
I
set up.
know.
That's like a foundational type of situation and system. So yeah,
Yeah.
really good. Okay. So and you have stuff, I'm curious if you look at these things that you have on your list. So inviting four people to conversations, replying to two stories or posts, pick one networking event and offer one piece of value. So bring attention to your opt-in. What next week, like what would how do I say this? What would you be really what sorry, I don't know how to word
That's
this.
okay.
How would you, at the end of the week, looking at that, what to you would be like, oh, that's really good to know, or that was really helpful?
Mm, um, yeah, I guess what's like really relevant to this week, especially because I'm reaching out to the people, to the other like women business owners in my area, is what they are looking for in this type of connection, like what made them think, oh, I should go to this networking event. Because it opened my eyes to a whole new um, demographic, basically. And so I think that would be helpful to get a better understanding of like where that drive came from, um,
Mm.
would be helpful.
Yeah, and another thing that I just thought of too, Teddy, there's a
Mhm.
lot. I mean, talking about business owners, I'm sure every business owner is burnt out and could use the
So
work
that's
you do.
what it had me thinking, which I had not thought about before. And so I'm sort of going to approach the people that feel aligned,
Uh-huh.
both from, I mean, I'm going to start the approach with the like, how can our businesses support each other? But also, I think that there is hopefully some of like the business owners themselves who would want to work with me.
Yeah. So again, let's go back to this testing thing. You're testing an
Hmm.
audience. What are the
Right,
what are the things that they and this is not Teddy, this is not us going, okay, there's all these people here. How can I conform and change what I'm doing to
right,
meet their need? It's what are they wanting and how am I, yeah, there might be some changes here and there in like the messaging and the wording, but how is what I do? Because everything that you do, like the whole untangle, all of that stuff, that can
right,
be like that can go into business too in the burnout that women are feeling. And I mean, you never know. Like as you test this out, it could get so specific. Like it's a business
right,
owner that's a mom that's also, has mental health like journey.
right.
Like
Yeah,
this could be really, really good. So that
yeah.
counts as testing. And I think that's a really, really great idea. Um, do you again have like a bank of questions that you're planning on asking?
I don't, so I should do that. Or I
Yeah.
could, not should, but could, yeah, that would be helpful.
Okay. So bank of questions to kind of ask. Do you have a bank of questions that you ask like other
I
people?
don't. No, I don't
No.
have a
Okay.
bank of questions.
So that's going to be a revenue generating activity as well, is creating a bank
Okay.
of questions. And it doesn't have to be like hundreds and hundreds. Remember that PDF and coach training of like 100 powerful coaching questions?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, it doesn't have to be that. It can just be like 3 to 5 questions, like that would
Hmm.
help me discern whether, okay, wait, hold on. 3 to 5 questions that would help you discern if this person is a good fit or not.
Yeah, it's like what we were talking about this morning.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, like you're vetting a person. So that's
yeah,
definitely like I think we should definitely look at that for
yeah.
sure. So when I asked you what would be good to know, and what would be helpful, you said knowledge about why your people want to connect and why,
Right.
like, why they want to come to this network, and then that led to the bank of questions things. And that's a great place to start. Um, the other thing to track too, like if we're talking about tracking, and you don't have to track these things, but I'm just going to share so you can kind of have them like in your brain or in your pocket or just when you're ready. But you could track like when
Hmm.
I'm inviting people, does this like template or does this email work? Like, does it work better if do I get a better response if I send a voice
Hmm.
message or does it get a better response if I send a written message? Sometimes there's no really way to tell depending on people's
Hmm.
preference, but it's just something that you can kind of say, when I did it like this, it really worked. And when I did this, I didn't get a response. Same with the reactions to the stories and posts. Like when people see you liking and maybe commenting or responding or sending a message, are they replying back?
Right.
That's good information to have and to know. The pick one networking event is pretty straightforward because you just pick it and then you decide, okay, I'm going to show up, right?
Yeah.
The
Hmm.
data would come after you go to it and say, okay, this is my ideal client or this is not. And then offer one piece of value for the opt-in bringing attention. It would be good to know, okay, I talked about it on Facebook and I talked about it on Instagram. Where did I get more of the people coming from? Where did more people, even if
Hmm.
it's just one
Yep.
person, like that's giving us information and that's giving us data in a way that can help us
Yeah.
next week go, okay, well, nothing came from me posting on Facebook. So let me double up on Instagram and see if I can see what happens there. So those are all just things that you
Right.
can track.
Right.
But you don't have to
Yeah. No, that's helpful.
be crazy. Even if it's just in your head for right now, you're just becoming aware of like, okay, what's happening here? What's working and what's not. So
Yeah.
cool.
No, that's really helpful. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. Was this okay? Is there
This was
anything else?
great.
Okay,
No,
good.
this was actually really great. Yeah. Yeah.
And I really think that this conversation is going to be helpful for other people to listen to too. Just again, because we're shifting out of, okay, what does my week look like? My week looks like me posting 5 times on Instagram and then me kind of just like fiddling around on my computer, being busy, but I'm not
Right.
really sure what I'm doing. This is the shift into I'm being intentional, I'm
Hmm.
tracking, I'm replicating, I'm like in control of what is going on versus like I hope something happens like you know
Right. No, absolutely. Yeah.
and it's a
Yeah.
big shift. It doesn't happen overnight, but it's happening
Hmm.
and this is so
Hmm.
good. This is
Hmm.
really really good stuff, Teddy. So yay, is there
Awesome.
anything else I can help you with before you
No,
to go? You probably have to go.
I do, but this was fabulous. So thank
Okay.
you.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome. Thanks for being here. And I'll send, like I said, I just typed a bunch of notes on Slack. So if anything doesn't make sense, we can
That's
always
awesome.
come back to that. And we have the
Okay.
replay. So thanks for being here and thanks for showing up. And
Thank
your
you.
grit is just the best, Teddy. You're
Oh, thank you.
welcome.
Thanks,
Okay, have
Sandy.
a good day and I'll see you on Slack.
Okay, sounds
All
good.
right.
Bye.
Bye.